This is the story of the lost flight MH370. On March 8, 2014, a Boeing 777 carrying 239 people takes off from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Destination: Beijing, China. But just 40 minutes into the flight, the plane vanishes. No distress call, no radar signal, nothing. An entire aircraft disappears into thin air. And even today, the mystery of Flight MH370 remains one of the greatest unsolved puzzles in modern history. At 12:41 a.m. local time, Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 lifted off from Kuala Lumpur International Airport. On board were 227 passengers and 12 crew members. They were a mix of nationalities, but mostly they were Chinese tourists visiting Malaysia's tropical paradise. Then there were the 9 Malaysians, including the 2 pilots. Both were highly experienced. The captain had logged more than 19,000 hours in the air. His first officer had about half that experience. Together they were perfectly capable of handling any situation that came their way. For the first 40 minutes, everything seemed normal. As the plane took off, the pilots exchanged pleasantries with the control tower. Then at 1:19 a.m., as the plane crossed into Vietnamese airspace, its transponder, the device that communicates with radar, was suddenly switched off. This was done manually. If you flip a switch, the plane shows up as a blip on the radar, but if you flip another switch, it disappears. To air traffic control, the plane now looks like it's parked in an airport hangar. The last words from the cockpit were chillingly casual. "Good night, Malaysian 370. Then silence. But the next hour, something strange happened. The plane changed course and flew all the way back over Malaysia before disappearing from radar near the island of Penang. Military radars then picked up the plane turning back toward the west. It flew across the Malacca Strait and into the vast Indian Ocean. But why? Was it hijacked? Did the pilots deliberately divert it? Or was there some catastrophic failure on board? That's what the investigators wanted to know. The disappearance of MH370 set off the largest search in aviation history. Countries from all over the world sent ships, planes, and satellites to the remote Indian Ocean. They combed through billions of data points and thousands of images, but after weeks of searching, they found nothing. Nothing except this. Small pieces of debris, later confirmed as from MH370, washed up on beaches in Africa and Indian Ocean islands, hinting that the plane had crashed somewhere far, far away. But here's the thing. No one knows exactly where. Investigators believe it went down in the southern Indian Ocean, one of the most remote and dangerous places on Earth. The nearest land is over 2,000 kilometers away. There are no airports, there are no shipping lanes, there are no oil rigs, and at those depths, there is no light. Plus, the ocean around Australia is one of the most inhospitable environments on Earth. The water temperature hovers just above freezing. The waves are enormous, storms are frequent, and visibility is almost zero. It's the perfect place to hide an airplane. And so the search continued for years. Underwater vehicles scanned the seabed. Sonar detected possible plane parts. But every lead turned up empty. In the end, the only piece of MH370 that was recovered was this: a wing part found on the island of Reunion, more than 4,000 kilometers from the expected crash site. And that's why conspiracy theories exploded. Was it a pilot suicide mission? Some believe that Captain Zahari Shah deliberately crashed the plane. They point to his strange simulator flight paths, which mimic the actual flight path of MH370. Others suggest a hijacking, maybe by terrorists, maybe even by someone on board. Then there's the wild theory that the plane was shot down by a government and covered up. The truth is, we may never know. But one thing is certain: in our modern world full of satellites, GPS, and instant communication, how could a plane just vanish without a trace? Well, in the case of MH370, it seems that's exactly what happened. The plane vanished from radar. It flew off course, then it went down in the middle of the Indian Ocean. In other words, it disappeared because someone wanted it to. Today, families of the victims are still searching for answers. And MH370 has become a symbol of how even in our modern world, full of satellites, GPS, and instant communication, a giant aircraft can simply vanish. Thanks for watching.